Well, that's a good start to a new week. Good morning, everyone. How the devil are you doing this fine day? Hope you're well. Hope you had a good weekend. I went fishing and got beaten by my son Fred, so we're 1-1 for the 2023 season. That being said, for a brief period on Saturday afternoon, West Ham were top of the English Premiership, so all around, pretty good weekend. Now, as it is Monday, I have this morning dropped a brand new column, and this time it's on the timely subject of rock, or crumbly concrete, as it's better known. I've taken a fairly serious approach to the subject, and what its removal and processing is likely to mean for those in the demolition arena. However, I have come across a video that I think explains it far better. Now, you have to bear with me because it's the wrong shape for the show, so I'm going to have to upload it from my computer. But let me just bring it up for you now. And this is rock explained as only a comedian could do.
Hello, mate. Yeah, I'm a builder. Have you got any concrete? I'm building a school for children. You've only got crumbly. And what's the difference between the two? Oh, that crumbles away to nothing, does it? And falls down on the kids' heads. Right, okay. You've got no normal concrete that lasts for hundreds of years. Okay, fine. We'll take the crumbly. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
I think that pretty much sums up the situation, doesn't it? There is a column on that. As I say, you can read it over in the chat. Let me have a look. If I get to the right place, I can actually post the link for you right now. There you are. The rock debacle. Crumbly concrete for everyone. I tell you what, I'll come back to the chat in just a second because we do need to get on with the show. Let's have a look. All last week, you might recall, we were giving away Komatsu baseball caps, and very popular they proved as well. But by way of a change, we're starting this week by giving away a medium-sized Komatsu t-shirt in a rather fetching shade of burgundy. Now, I did have it here earlier. I don't know what I've done with it. It's here in the office somewhere, but I don't know where it is. I will show it to you at some point. So for your chance to win, and I'm going to make this really, really easy for you, for your chance to win a medium Komatsu t-shirt in burgundy, just do what it says at the bottom of the screen there. Make sure you spell Komatsu correctly or your entry will not count. There you are. Type Komatsu into the chat for your chance to win. We will pull out the name of one lucky winner at the very end of the show. We do still have a few of our exclusive Break for Our Show stickers up for grabs today. I'll tell you more about that towards the end of the show. But without further ado, let me roll the intro, post the question of the day, and get this show on the road. And just to prove that we do actually send the prizes when they're won, Andy Dalvell. Good morning, Andy. Says, got my hat Saturday. Lovely it is too. And I'm a medium in T-shirts. Let's hope. I will be telling you in just a second. We've actually got a couple of small Komatsu T-shirts. I don't know anyone that not a full-size adult that a small would fit. But if you know of anyone, a child, petite woman, something like that, please let me know in the chat. And I'll come back to that at some point in the not too distant future. But the entries are running through. We're up to 8 so far. So you've got an 8 in 1 chance of winning. Now, it is Monday, the 4th of September. Believe it or not. Welcome to the Break for Our Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony. In today's show, Bobcat's portable power. Remote help is just a click away with John Deere. And we take a closer look at an all-electric Volvo compact loader. Plus, as I've already mentioned, we do have a Komatsu t-shirt up for grabs. And we will, I promise, get to all of that in just a second. But first, let's peer back very quickly through the mists of time to see what was happening on this day in history. Now, I've had a message here that's from Anthony Izzard. Morning, Anthony. Please have a listen. Any chance of a play on your show, Rebel Kings? Don't know what that means. I'll have a listen afterwards. Don't even know if it's related to what we're doing here, but thank you for being here nonetheless. Now, on this day in 1609, Henry Hudson became the first European to discover the island of Manhattan, and he promptly named the river flowing through it after himself. On this day in 1886, Apache chief Geronimo. Did he jump off things and shout his own name? I don't know. But Geronimo surrendered, bringing an end to the last major US-Indian War. In 1893, Beatrix Potter wrote the story of Peter Rabbit. In 1922, I didn't realise this was the case. In 1922, William Walmsley and William Lance founded the Swallow Sidecar Company in Blackpool. Not heard of it? Me either, but it would go on to become Jaguar Cars. In 1963, the Scottish Forth Road Bridge was opened. It was, at the time, the longest bridge in the whole of Europe. And in 1998, Google was formally incorporated by Stanford University students Larry Page and Sergey Brin. Whatever happened to Google, eh? Now, before we get into the real meat of the show, let me very quickly remind you, I don't think I've uploaded it. The question of the day is, what would you tell your 16-year-old self? I'll upload that in just a second. I will play a bit later in the show. It's a Monday morning. What can I tell you? But let me just quickly recap. This one doesn't actually come from Gary Muirhead, but it was certainly inspired by his question on Friday last week. He asked, what question would you tell your future self? Well, I've taken that theme and run with it. So what would you tell 16-year-old you? Personally, there's several things I'd like to tell younger me. That beer will get you in the end would be one of them. That your mum and dad are mostly right. And that work-wise, you won't get picked for West Ham, but it will all work out for the best in the end. But what about you? What would you tell your 16-year-old self? Let us know in the chat. Now, let's have a spot of this. Am I sensing a shift in the field of construction equipment manufacturers? On Friday last week, we brought you the news that Liebherr has entered the portable power and power storage sector to help keep electric machines, wheels and tracks turning. And here we are just a few days later, and it seems that Bobcat fancies a slice of the action too.
Welcome from the Doosan Bobcat campus in Dobříž, Czech Republic. For the first time in Europe, we are presenting the Bobcat branded generators, compressors and lighting system. There's no better place to show these machines. Dobříž and this campus is not just the home of Bobcat for Europe, Middle East and Africa, but since 2005, it's also the home of Doosan Portable Power. Bobcat has a long history of providing top-quality construction equipment. The Bobcat name is synonymous with durability, reliability, and performance. Doosan Portable Power not only shares this wonderful campus with Bobcat, but also shares the same values. So the rebranding is the next logical step on our journey to bring these great products under one roof. The first portable power products under the Bobcat brand will hit the market in 2024, so stay tuned for more details.
Yeah, you might recall I was actually at the Dobříž facility just a few months ago, and they made no mention whatsoever of any of that. But I certainly wish Bobcat and, of course, Liebherr every success with their ventures into the energy supply business. If you'd like to see more of that kind of machine there that might benefit from electrical energy, then stick around. But I did manage to upload our question of the day, just as a very quick reminder. Here we go. Yes, we've already had a few answers in on that, but I thought I'd remind you anyway. What would you tell your 16-year-old self? It would be a long conversation for me. Now, let me roll one of these because I've got more to show you. Show is in disarray this morning. Here we go. Now, electrical power, we were just talking about it, and anyone that tuned into this weekend's Saturday Social Show will know that was very much the topic du jour. So it seems appropriate to throw over to one of the undisputed pioneers in the field of electric equipment. And that pioneer will be the mighty Volvo. Here we go.
So Baltic Sands was formed in the latter part of 2017, specialized mostly in doing off-grid homes, also with a slant of having new technologies that are more efficient in terms of heating or cooling, and that is in essence what our mission statement is. I was very mindful of the amount of energy that it was required to produce a result that your client or your particular project required, especially when it comes to engaging with earth. It's heavy, it's not an easy medium to work with, and it's very demanding on fuel, for example. And I thought there must be a solution.
We've been fortunate to have these machines with us for 3 months all in all. We had the ECR 25 was first to land, and she did a lot of work on the house that we have just completed. And then the actual payloader, the L25, arrived, and that got put to work, and couldn't complain. I couldn't complain.
The major benefit is that the machines have no emissions, of course. They're very, very quiet. You don't have the noise from the engine, the vibration from the engines. It's helping the operators very much. It's amazing when the noise is gone and the vibration is gone, that you realize that it's tiresome for an operator. So we generate a very, very comfortable operator, and operator comfort increases productivity.
Because these machines are all electric, the drivetrain is electric, there really is no maintenance. I mean, most of the maintenance you do on a diesel machine is engine, transmission related. The batteries are maintenance free, the motors are brushless, so there hasn't been any maintenance.
Everything that you have in this machine is being replicated from a gas-powered machine. What they've done is replaced it with a clean burning electric motor. The hydraulic system is exactly the same, so your power and your performance is on a par. I have had no issue with lifting, excavating, blading. It's absolutely great.
When we received the ECR 25, for example, we wanted to see what its penetration power was and its breakout force relative to machines that were similar that we have used in the past. And it became clearly evident straight away that with the absence of noise, with the absence of vibration, the ability to communicate with the people in the cab, we were able to achieve equal to what we would have if we had a diesel-powered unit of same size, same track length, same weight.
Yeah, we should be good for another 3.5 hours.
Okay.
Running Eco Mode 1 at the moment, so yeah, all good. Your traction and everything is like a normal conventional earth-moving machine. Your seating is comfortable, your controls are comfortable, everything's at easy reach. So cannot complain about comfort. It is a Volvo. And the beauty about it is a lot of job sites will not allow you to start working after a certain hour because of noise. You can do a night shift with this and you won't even bother the neighbors sleeping. There are so many benefits. Somebody will find a downside, but it's at this stage is to find the positive, and Volvo's done great.
On this pilot project, the one thing we learned, it's something very simple. It works. It works quite well. I'm proud to be part of this project. I think long-term, sustainability will be a major factor for the industry, because more and more companies change their core values to sustainability, zero emissions, and the only way to have zero emissions is to have something like this behind me with battery-driven machines. Combustion engines will not be the future any longer. Electric or other solutions with zero emissions is the future.
There's a lot of synergy between our mission statement and what these units are able to bring to us. And it just closes the circle for us, not only for its purpose being eco-friendly and environmentally sound, but all the processes are responsible and are headed in the right direction.
Yeah, I've actually driven one of those compact wheel loaders in the electric version up in Sweden. I drove it badly and very briefly, but I can tell you it was superb, lightning quick and almost eerily quiet. If you ever get the chance to take one for a spin, do so. You will thank me. Lots and lots of answers over in the chat to our question of the day. What would you tell your 16-year-old self? And I'm happy to report that we are on double figures for the t-shirt draw. If you haven't entered already, then please follow the instructions at the bottom of the screen there. Type Komatsu into the chat for your chance to win. I'll be drawing it in just a moment. But first, we need this.
Since the finance bill came into effect in April, the construction industry has seen a surge of fuel thefts. The rising cost of living has placed an additional risk of theft by employees and contractors, as well as opportunistic thieves. By using diesel dye and placing warnings of its use, you are sending a clear message that this is your fuel.
Now, I was speaking before the Volvo electric machine about our Saturday social show on which we had a special guest, Peter McKenna. That's nothing to do with what I'm talking about now. But we got into talking about machines that are self-diagnosing faults and reporting those faults to the local dealer to be rectified by a qualified expert. That might be a thing for the future, but it's not the distant future because the tech for that kind of thing is here right now.
From myjohndeere.deere.com, we can enter into smart grade remote support with icon located at the bottom of the tiles. Here we will see our organizations that we are part of. We will choose the one that is appropriate for your company. This will bring up a list of machines that are paired with that support desk, which we see we have many. The top right shows that 1 of 30 are connected. We can choose the filter option to sort for only those that are connected to help with organization. So we go to filter and then change with connected. Now we can see that we have a 333G that is connected. We have the option for remote view, remote control, remote file manager, or remote MCX config. Remote view is an option to see what the machine is doing. This will mirror the screen from the monitor to your computer. We can now see what the operator is working on, what the active surface is, and what the elevations are at, as well as if the operator is using any automatics. This view is live with what the operator is doing. We can also use remote control, which requires a message to the operator to accept a remote session. We type in a message to the operator, and then they will hit accept on the monitor. You can now peruse the menu items, see the GPS info even, troubleshoot it, possibly by going into info and checking base station corrections. Pretty much anything you want on the screen. We can go into the menus, we can go to data, check the active surface, the next option is Remote File Manager. Here we have the option to download files from the machine. We'll pop up a user interface, and then we will choose the folder, which can be TopCon, then 3DMC. Then we can download any of the files in this location. We choose the file, then we can go up to the top, select download, and then that will download it to your PC. We also have the option to upload a file to the machine. So you can see the icon for upload. We would simply click that. You could choose any file on your computer, which could be a new project file or new localization. and then you would just hit upload to upload that file to the machine and be ready to go. That is the basics of remote support.
Thrown up a number of questions there, and I'll come back to what I was about to say in just a moment. But here's a point. We all know our friend Graham Footy Williams is very severely dyslexic. So all of that technology you've just seen, he says, if he sends a message to the computer, how am I meant to read it if I can't? Yeah, good point. Good point. How, can it be done pictorially? I don't know. Let's have a look. Dan Cullen, yep, I'm not surprised that John Deere have done that either, and that is awesome technology. I totally agree with you. And they are not unique in this, obviously. I know Caterpillar have got something very similar. JCB have got something similar. I know that Komatsu have got something very similar. But you know, we do like a bit of tech here. Now, just on that remote help thing, I wonder if that could be extended to provide additional instructions to the operator. Things like scaling back on revs, if we're talking diesel machines, save fuel and that kind of thing, to unlock certain tasks, not just to diagnose faults, but also to instruct on how to get the best out of a machine, possibly how to unlock, I don't know, specific machine functions for specific tasks. Anybody's got any thoughts on that, please let me know. Now, a very quick point that was also raised on this week's Saturday Social Show. During the show, those of you that were there will recall, I was delighted to welcome Peter McKenna on the screen to allow him to air his views about a multitude of things. Peter and I spoke offline afterwards about the possibility of doing this again during the Daily Show. I think it's a great idea. Actually, I've thought about it quite a lot over the weekend. I personally think that daily is probably too much, at least to begin with. But I do contend that it is a good idea. So starting this week, I'm going to trial Free Speech Friday. I like a bit of alliteration, so Free Speech Friday. When we go live on Friday morning, I'm going to share with you a link that will allow you to join me right here on the show, so you can actually be on screen with me. All you need is a webcam and a microphone, and don't worry, a smartphone will be plenty good enough. So if you'd like to have your say on any industry-related topic, in fact, it doesn't even have to be industry related. If you'd like to share your thoughts and feelings on this show, in fact, just pitch up. Say what you like. I don't care. It's, you know, I'm just the host. The show is yours. So, yes, Free Speech Friday is coming Friday, inspired by none other than Peter McKenna. Now, this.
If you would like to buy a limited edition Break Fast show sticker, head on over to buymeacoffee.com/demolition news/extras.
Now, it is almost time. When I can find the damn thing, bear with me 1 second. There we are. We're up to 11 entries on the prize draw today. Let me rescale that. So why don't we just draw it, eh? As I said, up for grabs today is a Komatsu t-shirt. I just want to make sure nobody's got in under the wire while I wasn't looking. Dan Cullen, just to very quickly respond to you. Can't wait to get my stickers. They are in the post. They're literally sat in an envelope over there as we speak. They'll be going in the post for you today. And was that another one that came in while I wasn't paying attention? I think that was the one that pushed us over the 11. So Leslie, I've got my fingers crossed for you and for everybody else as well. So let me press the button and see who is walking away with a very smart Komatsu t-shirt. Here we go. Mark Whiting. Mark Whiting. Fantastic news. Mark, you are now the proud owner of one very fine Komatsu t-shirt in fetching burgundy and in a medium size. Unfortunately, I wish there was some way that I could do this without stock so that I could actually order sizes, but that's not the way it works. I'm provided these things by the various manufacturers, and they sent me, well, they sent me a couple of larges, they sent me a couple of smalls and a couple of mediums. This is the last of the mediums, so there's just a couple of small ones to come. I'm going to say a very quick morning to Ripping in the Northwest. Is that the Northwest of England or is that the Northwest of America? Either way, good morning to you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Peter McKenna says, congratulations, Mark. I will echo that. Gary Muirhead says, well done, Mark. Dan Cullen says, well done, Mark. Peter McKenna was just heading out the door. Leslie has just said, congratulations as well. Glenn Johnson, you lot are really, really good losers, aren't you? Well done, Mark. Andy Darvell says, well done, Mark. Andy, also, your sticker went on Saturday morning. You should be getting that in the next, well, it may even be on your doorstep as we speak. So yes, trying to keep up with the sticker demand. It's been quite popular. I may have to do it again at some point. Now, yes, just to quickly remind you, I do have here. I'm not going to do a prize draw for them because I don't think they're an appropriate prize, because I don't think they're actually going to suit anybody that's actually here right now. But if you know of anyone that would like a small Komatsu t-shirt, they're lovely t-shirts. They're just small, and I do mean they are quite small. So if you've got a young child or a petite wife or girlfriend or something like that, or if you're a really skinny person yourself, let me know and I'll be more than happy to fetch you one of those Komatsu t-shirts. Now, it's been a while since I did a gripe. It's that time. Fishermen and boat owners do not make good bedfellows. Trust me on that. But there are two types of boat owners. Those that take fishermen into consideration and those that frankly should be drowned beneath their vessels. So on Saturday, myself and Fred took ourselves off to Weybridge and the Wey Navigation Canal for a spot of fishing. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, the sky was blue, the water was cool and calm. We set ourselves up quite close to a canal lock, mainly because basically I just didn't want to haul out all our gear miles from the car. Along this canal side was a row of about 12 or so mooring posts where narrowboat owners can park their boats while the lock fills or empties with water. I don't know what happens behind there. We were sat between the final couple of mooring posts away from the lock. All day, literally all day, boats of every shape, size and length would arrive. They would moor down by the lock for a minute or two before moving on. They didn't disturb us, we didn't disturb them. That was until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon when a boat pulled up and moored exactly where I was sitting. All of a sudden, rather than looking out at the canal, at the swans, at the trees opposite, I was looking through the window of a narrowboat at a pile of dirty dishes. Your man got off the boat, hoisted a length of rope over my head and moored his boat literally right in front of me, even though there was another 12 posts that he could have used. Imagine needing a parking spot and driving onto a football pitch and stopping right in front of the goal while the game was still in progress. That gives you some idea of what he did. And he did all of this without a word. Not an apology, not you shouldn't be fishing here, not a single word. However, as a sign of my growing maturity, he didn't end up going for a swim. Instead, I set my rod down, sat back in my chair and enjoyed the sunshine. However, I do sincerely hope that his boat sinks and that he goes down with it. Anyway, that's my gripe of the day. I'd love to hear yours. What is it that grinds your gears, gets your goat, and generally butters your parsnips? The daily gripe therapy session will return henceforth and forthwith. That pretty much wraps up the main part of this morning's show. I'm going to roll the outro in just a second before leaping gazelle-like over into the chat to see what you're all saying today. If you can't stick around for that, then please stay safe, look after yourself, your family, your friends, and your colleagues. And I'll see you again tomorrow, hopefully. But if you do have the time and the inclination, I will see you immediately after this final word from our key show sponsor for the Craic. Good morning, one and all. How the devil are you? Mark Whiting, just going to say congratulations. I may have your address, but if I don't, please send it to me. I'm actually going to the post office. What is the time now? It's 10:30. I'm going to be going to the post office at 11:30. If you can get me your postal address between now and 11:30, your new T-shirt will be in the post for you. What you call good service, isn't it? No, I've just pressed the wrong button. You have to bear with me. You'd think after all this time I'd know exactly what I was doing, wouldn't you? But that's not the case at all. That's the one I was after. There you go. Dual view. as if one view of my head is not enough. I'm going to take that one off for just a minute and we'll come back to that. Right, let me go back to the very beginning of the chat. I'm fairly sure our first comment this morning came from Peter McKenna, who gave a very good account of himself on our Saturday social show. We do have the ability, just to prove it, let's have a look. If you look in the chat right now, I'm not suggesting anyone does it, although you're welcome to. We do have the ability to actually welcome people onto the chat. So if you've got a webcam and a microphone, or if you're on a mobile device, smartphone with camera and working microphone, you can join us. Peter took advantage of that on Saturday, and as I say, gave a very good account of himself. Hopefully we'll have him and some others on the chat at some point in the not too distant future. Gary Muirhead is second off the mark. Love to have you on the show at some point, Gary. I realise that my show tends to interrupt your proper work, but one of these days. Jim Turner. Couple of things, Jim. Good morning to you, first of all. Second of all, just to let you know, one of the reasons I'm going to the post office today is that I've already boxed up your prize from last week. It's on its way. And if Stephen Guthrie is still here as well, there's a box of goodies winging their way to you as of about 11:30 today as well. Ken Hatter is in the house as well. Morning, Ken. How is the weather where everyone is? It's absolutely sweltering in here today. I don't know if it's particularly hot out or whether it's just close or whatever it is, but I am sweating golf balls, as they say. Never fully understood exactly what that meant, but there you are. Fantastic weekend. How was your weekend, Matt? My weekend was absolutely top notch. Yeah, I mean, I lost at fishing. I could quite easily have got into fisticuffs with a boat owner, but West Ham topped the table, albeit briefly. Relaxing day. Had a nice day out yesterday. Bit of lunch out with the good, long-suffering Mrs. Anthony yesterday. So yeah, no, it was all good. Hope you all had a good weekend too. Dan Cullen's in the house as well. Says, morning, everyone. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, as always. And as I said, your stickers will be winging their way to you in just a few minutes. Chris Ford is here. Now, on the subject of Chris Ford, you may recall that we were talking about the fact that Jim Turner has written a new show theme for this very show. Chris Ford's done it as well. He's not only has he done it, he's now sung it as well. There is no music, but he has sung it and he has sent me the video file or the audio file. The one thing that I couldn't figure out was how to get an audio file onto this show. So I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to turn it into a video, and I'll hopefully be able to play that for you tomorrow. It's very good. It's very good. I like it. In fact, I found myself humming it. That's a bit of a worry, isn't it? Maybe I'm just vain. I don't know. Let's have a look. Who else do we have here? Mark Whiting, who went on to be our Supreme Champion of the Day and got himself a Komatsu t-shirt. Morning, Mark. As I say, let me have that postal address and I will get that out to you forthwith. Good morning, Mark, and everyone on this sunny Monday. And Andy Darvell has got the weather as well. Fantastic stuff. Peter McKenna, we are lucky to be in your presence. Good Lord, sir. Good Lord. Now, my column of the week dropped today about the Craic debacle. Aerated concrete, or crumbly concrete as it is now known in the press. Obviously somebody's going to have to take this away and deal with it. I realise that some refurbishment companies will probably get some of the work, but my guess is the problem will likely fall to the demolition fraternity. And what are we going to do with that concrete? Can you imagine? I mean, I spoke to Mike Keogh at CMD Consultancy on Friday afternoon and said, what do you do with this aerated concrete? What can you do when you're processing it? He said, well, you can crush it, but it basically turns to powder. So can you imagine trying to convince a client that your new piling mat is made entirely of powder? And if you're going to use it for anything else, I guess you are likely going to have to explain, oh, by the way, that fill material, a lot of it is quite crumbly. We've made it mainly out of hobnobs. There's going to be a bit of an issue with that. And bearing in mind, a lot of this is in schools and in hospitals. That means that there will be some involvement of local authorities, local education authorities, local health authorities. Are we going to have a ridiculous situation whereby We have the local authority insisting that you get in as a demolition contractor, you get in and get this crumbly hobnob concrete out of the building, and then the same local authority saying, oh, you can't dump that in a landfill. That's sketchy, that is. I'd love to know the answer to that. If anybody has an answer, please let me know. Let's have a look. Our friend Craig is here as well. Morning, Craig. I didn't see you in the chat. I regret not saying good morning to you, but I'm saying it now. There's Craig over at CSW Groundworks. Did you mean unlucky? I don't know. What size t-shirt? That won't fit me. Unfortunately, it's not down to me. I do have a couple of Plantworks t-shirts that we're going to be putting up for grabs. Very smart they are too. I may do that possibly tomorrow. No idea what size they are, but keep an eye out for that. Gary Muirhead entered the Komatsu competition and missed out this time. Apologies. Peter McKenna, medium. Does it read our palms? I'll let it go because it's a Monday. There. Now, there was my question of the day, which took a couple of attempts. But what would you tell your 16-year-old self? I was being entirely serious. Beer is one of the first things. Would be beer is not a path you want to go down. And I'd probably mention boobs. There's a lot of them. You don't have to chase just one. I'd probably mention that. Andy Dovell got his hat, his Komatsu hat, and almost had a t-shirt to go with it. Not quite. Jim Turner. Sorry you missed out, Jim, but there is prizes aplenty on their way to you. Lots and lots of other entries for that. Peter McKenna, question of the day. Learn to drive diggers instead of trucks. It pays more in the future. It's a good one. Anthony Izzard. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. I don't know if that's music or what it is, but I'm going to go and give it a listen at some point. I was working from 8 years old, started on farms, and then did paper rounds and work on cheese stalls and in haulage. Cheese stalls. I do like a cheese stall. Glenn Johnston is here as well. Graham Footy Williams says he would tell his 16-year-old self, move to another country and get out of this one. Peter McKenna responded by saying, they're all as bad, pal. Grass always looks greener. Yes, I totally agree. Chris Ford, with the wisdom of his ages, life is full of surprises. Never take anything for granted. Never take anything for granted. That's a good one. And never take people for granted as well. I'd certainly throw that in there. It's only when you get to the age where you start to lose those around that you realise, actually, I probably could have spent a bit more time with them. Jim Turner, I thought this was very timely. Question of the day. That's a very easy one. As I've just told my 16-year-old lad the same. From your first day payday, only ever live on 3 days of your 5-day week. That leaves 1 day for the taxman and bank, the other day's wage until you have enough money for a buy-to-let mortgage. Keep repeating this and banking the rental income, and you can retire by the time you're 40. Wish somebody had told me that when I was 16. Really do. Question of the day. Andy Darvell says, knuckle down at school, concentrate at maths and science, get a degree in one of those and become a pilot. The one job I would love to have now. I'm learning to fly light aircraft, but I would love to have flown commercially. It's all in the levers, Andy. You've obviously got that skill, but yeah, if ever you're fully qualified and you'd like to take me for a spin, I'm game. Question of the day. Peter McKenna says, wolf in sheep's clothing. Not all friends are true friends. I think it's a wise point. I've never had that. Maybe I've just been fortunate. And I have to admit that over the years, I've never had a huge number of friends. And unfortunately, several of the friends that I did have, those that were closest to me, are no longer with us. But I've never actually had that falling out with friends. We've grown apart from time to time, but never actually had a major falling out. Peter McKenna says, got to miss the crack today, got things to do, places to go and people to see. Hope everyone has a great day. Thank you very much indeed for that. Now, Stephen Guthrie entered the competition, didn't win, but Stephen, there is a box of goodies winging their way to you in just a minute. Gary Muirhead's advice to his 16-year-old self, keep calm and carry on. Yeah, I have to admit that would be good for me, because when I was 16, 17, I basically had two key traits. One was cockiness, and the one was a violent temper. Keep calm, carry on. The cockiness, frankly, never really left me, but the temper has, which is why the guy on the boat made it out without going for a swim. Peter McKenna says, I still say electric isn't the future. I tell you what, Peter, why don't we book you in for a repeat appearance on the Saturday Social 10 years from now, and let's see if we can have the same conversation then, because I've got a funny feeling you could be wrong on that. Need to wrap you up in bubble wrap, Stephen. Yeah, I think you're dead right. Falling off of bikes and stuff, not a good way forward. Peter McKenna says, electric isn't the only zero-emission tech out there. I haven't had a chance to read it properly, but my mate Mike Wolf over on World Highways posted something on LinkedIn today about hydrogen. And I realise we're all chomping at the bit to get our hands on hydrogen machines, and you know, they are the future and all of that good stuff. But one of the issues that's raised in an article in The Guardian is the fact that while using hydrogen machines here will be a good thing here, apparently there is now a concern about the environmental damage that we are doing elsewhere during the production of that hydrogen. So we're fixing a problem here, creating a problem over there. Not the way we want to go. Now, Stephen Guthrie is back in again because he keeps bleeding. Stop that. Stop that right now. Stop the bleeding. And Peter McKenna says, ouch, not good, pal. Hope they sort it out soon. Yeah, we all hope you sort it out soon. And as I say, we do have a goodie box on its way to you, just to cheer you up a bit. Now, we showed you the remote monitoring business from John Deere. Peter McKenna rightly pointed out, they've been doing that tech in road trucks for years now. They've been doing it in plant for years now as well. And he goes on to say that it is called telematics. I know. We've reported on telematics for several years now. Volvo, DAF, MAN and Iveco trucks have been doing that for years. It's called telematics. I know. But it's still interesting. Don't know if we heard back from a ripping in the northwest. Don't know if they're ripping in the northwest of England or ripping elsewhere. But good morning to you. There's Peter McKenna heading out the door. Lots and lots of people saying, well done. Chris Ford says, phew, that was close. Well done, Mark. It wouldn't fit me anyway, which is precisely why I'm not doing a big song and dance about the small T-shirts. So if you've got, I don't know, boys or girls, I don't care. I'm pretty laid back. If you've got boys or girls around about, I don't know, 10, 12 years old, and you fancy a Komatsu T-shirt for them, let me know, and I'll get them out in the post for you. Dan Cullen says, I have a friend. She is small and likes machines too. Tell me who she is or where she is or whatever, and I'll sort that out for you, Dan. Not a problem at all. Or if you'd prefer, I'll send it to you and you can pass it on to your friend. Not a problem at all. Dan Cullen, talking about my friend with the boat. Oh my God, what a moron he was, and a twat. Yeah, that was... Certainly twat was in my list of expletives that I was muttering under my breath, but me too. Hope his hull gets a puncture. Yeah, there was a little bit of me that really wanted to get a pole and basically push him away. But there you are. Now, Lucky Busenda. You need repentance. Jesus Christ really coming soon to punish all signers. I'm going to guess that means sinners. Should I be concerned? Have I sinned? A little bit. Am I convinced that Jesus Christ is turning up anytime soon? Less so. But thank you. I don't even know how I go about repentance for some of the stuff that I've done. So I'll just have to take a look at my comeuppance should he pitch up. Never had the patience to drown worms. Ever thought about sailing a remote control kamikaze submarine? I'm a maggot drowner, not a worm drowner, but I take your point. I've mentioned this before. My dad, when I was very young, my dad was a very keen match angler, and he used to take me fishing on a Sunday on a fairly regular basis, pretty much weekly actually. And he once told me, when I was far too young to actually understand what he was talking about, that fishing would save my sanity. And I said to Gary Muirhead over the weekend, after he asked me how I got on, aside from our friend who parked his boat right in front of me, I basically sat there for about 5 hours and just stared blankly at a float in front of me, a little piece of orange in the middle of a canal. And I thought about nothing whatsoever. It's really, really good, I have to say. Still be here watching every day for a while now. See, swings and roundabouts, fall off your bike, do yourself enormous damage, and end up bleeding. Bad. Get to see more of this show, increasing my audience numbers. Good. It's a balancing act, people. I'll come on. It would be okay to talk while operating. No, it would not. Listen, that's only going to get you and probably me into trouble. We'll do it at a time. Listen, if push comes to shove, we'll do an evening show. We'll do one out of hours, and I will just throw open the chat, and I will just put. I can host as many as 10, I think, on this platform. If you want to come along and have a good old natter, I'll host it and try and keep it in order. If you want to do that one evening, let me know. More than happy to do that. Every site has an idiot. Looks like you've just gained one. Not just one. Interesting competition between Jim and Chris. Quite right. Oh shit, everyone will know why I'm a digger driver. Wait till you hear it. You'll really enjoy it, honestly. Question of the day. I'm working on home farm and friends' farms from the age of 6. How it used to be. My daughter would probably fit a small t-shirt. Obviously, she loves diggers because she's been pushed into it, says Andy Darvell. Well, Andy, I tell you what, I've got a t-shirt here with your daughter's name on it. That's not strictly true because I don't actually know what your daughter's name is, but I'm going to send you one of the Komatsu t-shirts. I'm going to send Dan Cullen the other t-shirt, and we'll worry about the rest of the nonsense at some other point. Batteries are only the short-term future. They have to keep selling us something and then sell us the next revolutionary problem solver. Funnily enough, I was listening to a podcast the other day where they were talking about marketing speak. You know that expression, new and improved? Doesn't mean anything, does it? Because if it's new, how can it be improved? Because it's new. I don't know, just stuck in my head. New and improved means nothing, and yet you see it all the time. And what about when you see, you see these adverts for things like toothpaste and shampoo and the like, new formula. So before the new formula, you were selling us something worse, were you? Should we not get a refund if you were selling us something worse? Knowingly selling us something worse? These are the things that keep me awake at night, you see. Right, people, that is nearly 50 minutes. As I say, I have got to go to the post office to get some of this stuff out of the door. Postage bill's going to be bloody enormous today, but there you are. That's part of the fun of doing the show. So, Stephen Guthrie, box on its way to you. Jim Turner, box on its way to you. Dan Cullen, stickers and a t-shirt on their way to you. Andy Darvell, t-shirt on the way to your daughter. Watch this space. They'll be landing tomorrow. And we do have some more goodies. Plantworks t-shirts up next, I think. I've got a feeling a few schools could get demolition and more work. Yeah, as I say, I do wonder. I can't. I can't even be bothered to talk about this right now. But you would think that somebody like the National Federation of Demolition Contractors or the Institute of Demolition Engineers will be doing some kind of local authority outreach right now to say, when you do decide that parts of your school need to come down, please be sure to use a competent demolition contractor, and here's a list for your area, and please consult us if you need any advice. You'd think. Steve at Guthrie says, thank you very much. You're very welcome. And Dan Cullen says exactly the same as well. So, people, go and have a fantastic day. Enjoy the sunshine if you can. Enjoy the hot weather while it still lasts. This is what is known as an Indian summer, and I fear that Give it another couple of weeks, we'll all be digging out our jumpers. So while the weather lasts, go and enjoy it. And there's Andy Darvell saying, cheers, Mark. Not a problem at all. Hope your daughter likes the t-shirt. People, go have a good day. I'll bother you again tomorrow. Till then, have a great one. All the best.